going on, you guys? Today I have a really fun video planned. So recently on my TikTok I posted a funny video where I basically shared an opinion about Pokemon that would get me attacked by the entire Pokemon fandom. So I wanted to expand on that because I saw that Hoops and Hip Hop here on YouTube did something really similar where he shared his opinions on who he thinks are the absolute worst in each category of Pokemon that he chose. So I wanted to do my version and continue on with my controversial opinions. So if you are a Pokemon fan, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up so that it reaches more of you guys and gets pushed into the YouTube algorithm. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. I do all kinds of Pokemon, anime, gaming content, so if you're into that kind of thing, make sure that you join the fam and join the club, and please leave your comments down below after I share my opinions because I would love to hear your opinion, because this is all based solely off of what I personally think and feel about each and every single one of these. So make sure that you leave your opinion down below as well. But let's hop into it. Let's hear some more controversial opinions. So like I said, these are all just my opinion. Please feel free to leave your opinion down below, and it's okay for you to have a different opinion than me. I encourage you to leave different opinions, and you're more than welcome to roast me in the comments too. Don't worry, I have thick skin, but I'm gonna go basically in order with all of the different types of Pokemon that I can think of off the top of my head. I just feel like it's a little bit more genuine, just kind of doing it off the cuff. So nothing's staged or thought about too much. This is just what's gonna come into my head and what I think. So let's start off with the starters. So I'm gonna go with the starters from Gen 1 to Gen 8 just because Scarlet and Violet hasn't come out yet. So from Gen 1 to Gen 8, I think that the absolute worst starter has to be Tepig, which, don't get me wrong, Tepig looks really cute at first. He's this cute little fire pig, but then as he evolves, it just gets progressively worse. Like when he turns into Pig Knight, you're like, okay, all right, there's always an awkward phase for the starters, that awkward middle phase where they kind of look off. Then you hope that it's gonna get better when they finally have their final evolution at level 36, and then for Tepig we literally get Emboar. I tried to think of ways to put this lightly, but I just think that Emboar is ugly. Like as a design, I think he's lazy. He's literally just like a pig that stands on two legs, and they were like, let's throw some flames at it. Like it started off so good with Tepig, and then we ended off with this weird humanoid pig that's on fire. I just don't like its design. At least with Pig Knight, you can tell that they're going for the fighting fire dual typing because he looks like a little luchador, but I just can't get behind Emboar. Like I feel like he doesn't get that point across, and he just ends up looking really ugly. Now when it comes to legendary Pokemon, there is a trio that significantly stands out to me as the ugliest out of all of the legendaries from Gen 1 to Gen 8, and that would be the forces of nature. Of course, they have their Therian form and their incarnate form. Their Therian forms, they look alright in them. I don't have as many complaints, but their incarnate forms, when they're genies, the legendary genies as some people refer to them, are actually the most hideous things I have ever seen come from the Pokemon company. They just design-wise look gross to me. They look like weird zombie, genie, like gremlin things. Their color scheme makes them look even more gross, especially the green color scheme that Tornadus has literally just makes them look sickly. So yeah, just for purely design reasons, I just think that they are ugly. Along the same lines as legendary Pokemon, we have Mythicals, which of course you can only get through events, which I feel like already makes a lot of them really forgettable since they are literally shown once in like a movie or at the event, and then you just kind of forget about them because they sit in your box. But the one that stands out to me as the most forgettable and the weirdest mythical, in my opinion, is Volcanion. Not only do we not know a lot about it, because I literally didn't even remember that it had a movie about it, the design reminds me of literally like a baby's like chew toy. Like I feel like my little nephew has a toy that looks like Volcanion. I just think it looks weird. It's not very memorable. Like I said, I didn't even remember it had a movie about it. So for those reasons, Probably the worst out of all the mythicals. There's so many better mythicals than that one. Now let's talk megas. I feel like megas are always kind of hit or miss, but I think that the one that I like the least has to be Mega Garchomp, and I feel like that might be a controversial opinion, but it just doesn't do it for me. Like, all they really did was make him have like a Johnny Bravo jaw, and then they added some bigger like blades to his already like little blade hands. It does nothing. It gives nothing. It literally just made him more angular. I just feel like we could have done more with Mega Garchomp. Like, if Mega Charizard can have 2 different forms, then do my boy Garchomp some justice, because he literally hardly changed. With the recent addition of Sword and Shield, we also now have Gigantamax forms, which are like the new day and age version of Megas, I guess. That's the new gimmick, of course. So if I had to choose the worst Pokemon for Gigantamax form, it would have to be Gigantamax Meowth. For starters, I feel like people forget that Meowth can even Gigantamax in the first place, because I feel like nobody ever does it. And secondly, he literally turns into like a wiener dog. Like, why is he so long? Like, literally, they just make him like extra long. He literally looks like cat dog, and that's it. They're like, let's just make him have a really long torso. I think this would be a great Gigantamax form. Like, literally just comparing it to Gigantamax forms like Grimmsnarl, Cinderace, Gigantamax Charizard, like it doesn't even compare. Even like Pikachu and Eevee, who literally hardly change, look better as a Gigantamax form than Gigantamax Meowth. Why did they make him look like cat dog? Please explain. Now, keeping with the theme of Pokemon changing their appearance in the games, let's talk about regional variants. I'm usually pretty pleased with regional variants, especially with Galarian Ponyta, like the cutest thing I've ever seen. But there is one regional variant that I literally, every time I see it, I'm just like, you really just ran out of ideas with this one, huh? You just threw some hair on it. And that is the Alolan Doug Trio. Like, it's literally Doug Trio, but they're like, let's put some blonde hair on him. Let's put some surfer blonde hair on him, just to show that he's a tropical regional variant. Like, it's literally just the laziest design I have seen. Like, it's funny, like it makes me laugh. I look at it and I'm like, that's funny, that's a good joke. You couldn't have tried a little harder, or just picked a completely different Pokemon to give a new form to. They could have done so much better, but yeah, I have to go with Alolan Doug Trio. Now, this next one is a doozy for sure. We're gonna talk about shiny Pokemon. My least favorite shiny Pokemon, the one that I think looks the worst, may shock you, especially if you know me from TikTok and you know what my favorite Pokemon is. My least favorite and the ugliest shiny form that I think that there is shiny Espeon. Ah! They did Espeon so dirty. Espeon's such a pretty Pokemon, especially in its regular form when it's purple. It's just a very like nice, aesthetically pleasing looking Pokemon. I've literally loved it ever since it came out. It's like this pretty little cat Pokemon, and they turned it green. It literally looks like an alien. They couldn't do anything other than green. They couldn't have given it like a nice silvery color like shiny Eevee, or they couldn't give it a nice pink color like shiny Celebi. Like, why green? Why green? I'm upset, but what I think is the worst looking shiny has to be shiny Espeon, which I know, blasphemous coming from me, the Espeon lover, but it had to be said. Now, when it comes to pseudo-legendaries, this one was a little bit tough for me because I actually like all of the pseudo-legendaries, but there is one that I like less than all the others, and that would be Como-o. He just has too busy of a design for me. I feel like he almost looked cooler as a Hakumo just because he was a little bit less busy of a design, but had a similar vibe to him. I just don't like how much he has going on. I feel like they could have done a little bit less and still made him look really cool. Maybe played off more of the middle evolution rather than just throwing a bunch of armor on him, but he still looks cool. He's just a little too busy for me and is the least striking in design out of all the other pseudo-legendaries. And just because I wanted to end it off on the most dramatic note possible, let's go over what I think is the worst evolution out of all of them. I know, me, who raves about evolutions constantly and loves all of them. I do think that there is one that is the worst out of all of them. And it's not the one that you might think it is. Because I feel like a lot of people hate on Leafeon, but I actually love Leafeon. My least favorite, and the worst design-wise, I think, personally, is Glaceon. I don't know what it is about Glaceon, but ever since it came out, I've always just been like, literally, I do not care about Glaceon. I don't care about its design. I just think that it's boring. It just doesn't give what the other evolutions give. I just feel like the other ones have a much more impactful design, but I will have to say that Glaceon is, in my opinion, the worst out of all of the evolutions. And like I said, has nothing to do with competitive, has nothing to do with their stats, whatever. It's genuinely just because I don't think that it has a good design and I don't like the way that it looks. Now I could go on about other characters in the game like rivals, which I think we all collectively have the same rival that we all think is the worst. But I'm gonna end this video here. If you guys want a part 2 with more categories, or if you want me to go into the actual human characters like the rivals, the gym leaders, the Elite Four, the champions, please let me know in the comments. And like I said, feel free to share your opinions down below as well. I want to hear. Let's start a discussion, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. Hopefully you enjoyed. Bye!